In the year 2020X, John Connor was assassinated.
Has a rumbling in his tummy.
And the only way to cure it is with good Terminator games.
To go to White Castle. So this is Terminator Dark Fate.
Actually,
or is it?
No, Terminator.
No, it is not.
Resistance.
Actually, this is resisting the need for hunger and food. That's my title for it. It's a first-person shooter based in the war. I think this is the game everyone sort of wanted since they saw the first Terminator.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Cause
This is definitely the game I would have wanted to see with, with Salvation even.
I think everyone's been waiting for this game for years. Let's just put it that way. It seems... It's important to say the people that made the Rambo, the video game, clearly got
The rights
more
for-
money. Well, yeah. They seem to be kind of like... Was it Fast Forward? Was the game... Whoever developed Double Forward, I think. Whoever developed the new-ish Double Dragon Neon, Way Forward.
Forward, yeah.
They have a tendency to just grab licenses for old games and redo them. And I felt like they did a great job with that license, but I feel with the Rambo, they had the money to get the license, but like they came out with those PS2 graphics, if you remember.
Yeah, and they were mainly on-rail shooters.
Yeah, and this, they learned from that.
And they
grabbed the
basically
license.
went, like, completely out of the park with this. Like,
I feel like this is good. I've heard some criticisms of where the game, it's very linear. I feel like it's not on rails, but it's still linear. But if you don't mind having a one-player game where it's that dedicated to the Terminator license, from what I've heard, you don't see the Terminators until later. Like, you don't fight them until, like, the last hour or so of the game, which is kind of a shame. But if you love
but it does kind of make sense because, you know, they are, like...
the ultimate, right?
That's why Skynet keeps sending those back in time.
Exactly.
Or even, like,
those,
superior
like,
models.
clunky little vacuum cleaner robots.
Yeah, like, imagine if they just sent, like, a spider scout into the past.
Yeah. What the... Anyways, honestly...
Maybe that's how we got the Roomba.
Yeah, that's how we got the Roomba. That's a good point. But for $45, I think if you're a hardcore fan of the series, you're going to love this. If you're not really big on the series, I've heard a lot of conflicting reviews about this game. I think if there was multiplayer, like they added multiplayer on later, I think they would add a lot more value to this. I think then, the $45 would be fair.
I feel like this would also be a good entryway for the Terminator franchise.
Yeah.
I'd say that, but then because the Terminator franchise has been in shambles after Dark Fate,
some might say after Terminator 2.
I would basically say like this is a good entryway into like the setting of Terminator, or rather part of the setting, because most of the setting of Terminator is Skynet trying to
early 90s.
Yeah, trying to send robots into the past to try and alter the future for their betterment, and thus the Resistance also sends Terminators and humans into the past.
I think the cool thing about this is it gives you like options, story options. So I think I could be wrong. I thought I heard that there's like multiple endings to this, like 3 to 6. I could be wrong.
I actually think you might might be right with that, because
I've heard
this
it's
has
not
like
a huge difference.
This has like a Fallout style choices. In fact, this entire
really,
game does make me think of Fallout.
It really reminds me of like, what if we you could almost say this game is like the Half-Life 3 we never got, because I feel like when it does a zoom up close, I feel like you could almost pretend this is Half-Life 3 minus like some of the like trademarks of like the head crabs.
You can replace the head traps with the spider scouts.
It's a similar sort of setting, I guess you could say. But
yeah, I'd say Fallout because they both have like nuclear strikes, but the difference is that whereas Fallout was more like it was just escalated war, this was more a robot just got control of the nukes.
Honestly, like if they added multiplayer and you could play as a Terminator, I know they added that to a different game. I'm trying to remember which one. I think it was Dead by Daylight. They added the Terminators, but it's a shame. Like this game with multiplayer would be a lot of fun. Just playing as a Terminator, just the different Terminators, because there's so many now. And then that would really, or maybe in a sequel, that would be awesome because they're onto something good. They're doing, in my opinion, better than the Rambo game, and like, I am a pretty big Rambo fan.
It actually makes me wonder how they would do, like, if they had a second chance with Rambo, how they would do it. 'Cause
Yeah,
I'm imagining
now.
like a more modern take on the Rambo game for the NES.
Or if they had the chance to do a Rambo 4, Rambo 5 game would be amazing. Because especially Rambo 4, because if you've seen Rambo 4, it's a lot more intense than Rambo 5. The setting's way different. And like they could almost have, even Rambo 5 like had a really cool setting, but they didn't. So Stallone, I think, didn't want to do another Rambo 4. He wanted to do more of like a character study. But if you had a video game that was based off of those, and I'm sure they could do it.
Yeah, and I mean, what about then
before.
there's like the newest one, right?
Yeah, so I think for this game, like if you're looking for something that has the Terminator spin on it, and you're not expecting multiplayer, I would say definitely go for this. It's at least 7.5 or 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I definitely give it an 8. It's a really
it's very loyal to the license.
I kind of think like the Terminator franchise is a really good entryway into like the genre of robot wars, where it's like humans are fighting against a rogue AI, because it kind of sells like, at least because I actually found Terminator Salvation to be a really good game, as it introduces you to this whole concept.
Well, they've done so much with the license over the different movies, so I feel like they could totally build from there and like build off of this. And
especially since the future it was always alluded to in the movies. Salvation is like literally the only Terminator movie we've actually seen.
Yeah.
Like, it's all about the future. So yeah, this is, now that the franchise is now like in shambles, maybe a new continuity could rise, like with Mortal Kombat.
I just feel like I think the video games are where the future is for the license. Now that the movies seem to have exhausted like every imaginable possibility, so it feels.
Yeah,
like.
and plus, I mean, there's a lot more things you can do with video games than
I
than
mean, you
can
could
with movies.
potentially keep making games. Like, same with the Ghostbusters license. Like, there's a reason why they dedicated, or like even Back to the Future from years ago, where they got the original actors and a sound like a really perfect almost.
You know that's the funny thing. Most of these movie franchises could do a lot better as video games now.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, that is the future. That's really what they should be aiming for. And like, I feel like for $30, if you can get it for 30 or less, like, this is worth it. 45 is a little bit high without multiplayer, but if you really love Terminators, then
if you love Terminator, if you love robot war genres, if you like first-person shooter RPGs, this is a good game for you. 8 out of 10, go buy it.
All right,
let's go dominating some bad games now.
I can guarantee I'll be back
with weapons.